was just looking at this delicious dish of Skittles here. Skittles are very good. They're one of my favorite pieces of candy. Do you like Skittles? You know what? I was looking at them because when I get done today, when our time together is done, I'm going to eat them. But I'm going to set them here and I'm going to wait till the very end to eat them. I think that might be a little hard because I love Skittles so much. Hey, I have an idea. What if you pause the video and then you go ask your mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, whomever you're watching this video with, why don't you see if you can have a snack or a special treat and you can set it off to the side until the video is done as well. And then we can eat it together. That sounds like a really fun idea. So if you would like, go ahead and pause the video. So today we are going to continue talking about the fruit of the Spirit. Now we've talked about, we can look at our wall over here, but we've talked about love, joy, and peace. Today we are going to learn a new one. So are you ready to continue learning about how we can learn to live and love like Jesus through some songs, memory verse, and a Bible story and activities? I switched it up a little bit right there. We're going to do our songs and memory verse first today, and then we'll do our Bible story and crafts. Okay, kids, are you ready to go? Let's go. I've got the joy. I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart. Where? Down in my heart. I've got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Down in my heart to stay. And I'm so happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart. And I'm so happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart.
Hi kids! Thanks for joining me for the Bible verse today. My name is Ellie, and we're going to go through 2 times through. Ready? But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law. Galatians 5:22 through 23. Great job! Now let's do it again. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law. Galatians 5:22 through 23. Great job, kids! Bye!
So in the Bible, they talk about patience as this long suffering. And it sometimes it's different for every person. But it's this idea of when you're in relationship with people, so with your family and your friends and grandparents and people you don't even know, you have to work with them. And sometimes that requires patience. And there's long suffering. So a small example is when you're hungry and you want breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or a snack, and your parents or your babysitter or grandma and grandpa or whomever you're with, they say, no, we will have that in 15 minutes and you need to wait. Sometimes it's that long suffering. And if you maybe go up to them and you complain and you cry and you say, when will it come? Why can't I have it now? That relationship that you're in with them kind of becomes strained. It maybe makes your parents a little sad or upset because they have to keep telling you to wait and wait. And maybe they get tired of saying that. And then frustration happens. And then you get frustrated because you're really hungry. So you can see it's a long or maybe a short amount of time, but sometimes it's suffering. And there's a lot of different ways we can talk about patience. But In the Bible, it's important to know that when you're waiting, so in the moments when you need to have patience, whether you're waiting to eat or you're waiting in the car ride to go somewhere, or when you get older, there's going to be different ways you're going to have to wait and have this patience. We need to try and have a joyful heart, a cheerful heart as we're waiting. So even though your parents might say, you know what, you need to wait 15 minutes to have dinner, what can you do in those 15 minutes to have a cheerful and joyful heart? And we'll talk about some ways there in our activities, but it's important when we're in relationship that we can have a cheerful heart. And I understand that that won't always be the case. You won't always be cheerful, and that's okay. But for right now, let's remember that when you're waiting, this long suffering, to have a cheerful heart. And with that, the Bible also talks about that with patience, we need to forgive others when they're not patient. So an example is I hear a lot of times my older son talk to his sister, and he'll say, Ava, you need to have patience. And it's cute and it's funny, and I think like, oh, they're understanding. But at the same time, my son needs to be gracious. He needs to be forgiving to his sister when she is slow. And I need to do that too as their mom. When I say, come on kids, it's time to go to the car, I need to have patience with them. I need to be forgiving and forgive them that, you know what, they don't move as quick as I would like to sometimes, and that's okay. So when we're in relationship with people, whether you're talking about friends, family members, or people you someday when you grow up will work with, or when you're with classmates that you don't really know, it's important that we grant them patience as well. Because you know what? Our loving Father, Jesus, gives us so much patience in relationship with him. When we read his word, he tells us how we need to act, like the fruits of the Spirit, right? He tells us we need to be loving to people. We need to have joy and peace, and yet we don't always do that. And he still loves us very, very much, and he's very patient with us. So all he asks is that we're patient with others as well. So today in our Bible story, we are going to read out of the Jesus Storybook Bible. It's called Son of Laughter. And this is about Abraham and his wife, Sarah. This is an excellent story, and they had a ton of patience. So let's put on our listening ears and open up our eyes. And we are going to read the story. It's called Son of Laughter, and this is found out of Genesis chapters 12 through 21. So this comes right after, we've talked about Noah before, if you've been watching for a while, and if not, maybe you've heard the story of Noah, or you can look back at other videos, but this comes years after Noah. So remember, with Noah, God destroyed the earth because he did not like what was going on, and you'll hear more of that coming up as we read. Years passed, and things did not get any better. People were still just as cruel and mean to one another. They still got sick and died. God's world was still full of tears. It was never meant to be like this, but God was getting ready to do something about it. He was going to make all the wrong things right, and he was going to do it through a family. Abraham, God said, how many stars are there? God was about to tell his friend a wonderful secret. Let me see, Abraham said, rolling up his sleeves. But have you ever tried counting the stars? Then you know how hard it is. So Abraham rolled them up, 993, 994, 997. Oh, no, wait. 1, 2, of course, he kept losing count. There's too many, he said. You can see here, Abraham, and all the stars in the sky. Guess what? God laughed. I will give you so many children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, you won't be able to count them either. Abraham couldn't help giggling at such a wonderful idea, but he stopped himself. How could he have a family? Don't be silly. He didn't have any children, let alone grandchildren. He wiped away a tear. Anyway, it was far too late for him to start having babies at his age. He was 99 years old. What could God mean? Stop and think about that for a second. He was 99 years old. Wow. Abraham, God said, believe me. And then God told Abraham his secret rescue plan. Abraham, I will make your family very big. God promised, until one day your family will come to number more than even all the stars in the sky. Abraham looked up at the dark night sky, thick with stars. You will be my special family, my people, and through you, everyone on earth will be blessed. It was an incredible promise. God was going to rescue the world through Abraham's family. One of his great-great-great-great-grandchildren will be the child, the promised one, the Redeemer, the rescuer. But it's too wonderful, Abraham said. How can it be true? Is anything too good to be true? God asked. Is anything too wonderful for me? So Abraham trusted what God said more than what his eyes could see, and he believed. Now, when Abraham's wife Sarah heard God's promise, she just laughed to herself. But it wasn't a happy laugh. It had tears in it. She always wanted a baby. Could her dream come true? Could she really have a baby when she was 90 years old? No, of course not. Don't be silly. It was far too late. Sarah didn't believe God could do what he promised. She had forgotten that when God says something, it's as good as done. Of course, it was easy for God to give her a baby son, as it was for him to make all the stars in the sky. Sure enough, 9 months later, just as God had promised, Sarah gave birth to a baby boy. They named him Isaac, which means son of laughter. And Sarah laughed, but this time it was a glorious, happy laugh. Her dream had come true. God would do as he promised. He would always look after Abraham's family, his special people. And one day, God would send another baby, a baby promised to a girl who didn't even have a husband. But this baby would bring laughter to the whole world. This baby would be everyone's dream come true. Here's the other page. Picture of Abraham and Sarah. And the very last page. I'm holding their baby boy, Isaac. So you might be thinking, okay, what does that have to do with patience? But think for a minute. Think of Abraham and Sarah. They were very old. I imagine they were older than your grandparents. Abraham was 99 and Sarah was 90. They had a baby. Now, that was some long patience. Just imagine for a minute Sarah. She probably thought she never would have kids, and she probably waited and waited in patience. It was this long suffering for her. But God promised Abraham that he would give them children, so many children, and all those children after years would bring Jesus. They had to have patience. So, what a cool story to remember, that they had to have patience, Abraham and Sarah, and they had to wait a long time, that long suffering. And you know what? God came through. God said, he promised he would bring them a baby boy, and he would bring them through their family this wonderful other boy, Jesus, to rescue the whole world. Now that's some long patience right there. Are we ready to move on to our activities? So for today, I thought it would be great to do a lemon to represent patience. So if you have a piece of paper, if you have a yellow one, I do have a yellow one today. Why don't you grab that? Right now, you can pause the video and go get that, or you can do it later. So we are going to be drawing patience and then cutting it out. We're drawing a lemon. A lemon is pretty much an oval, which is kind of wonderful for drawing, especially I do not have the best artistic skills. So there we go. I have my lemon and I'm going to cut it out. So kids, when we talk about patience, remember it's this long suffering, and we're in relationship with other people. And if you remember last week when we talked about peace, sometimes to help peace, we need to say, I'm sorry. Maybe it's saying it right away and not in trying to, if you're arguing with your brother or sister or fighting with, your parents or a friend, sometimes we need to say, I'm sorry. So this week, remember we talked about with patience, we also need to learn to forgive others, right? So we need to be, when it comes to patience, we need to practice that by forgiving others when they're not doing exactly what we want in the time frame that we want. Kind of like our story as well. That's another point with Abraham and Sarah. They definitely did not have a baby on their time frame. They had to wait for God. And with patience, when we talk about that, a lot of times it's waiting. It's waiting to know that God has the right timing and that our parents are having the right timing. Our babysitters need to trust them. So if you have your lemon cut out, again, not very artistic, but it's pretty much an oval, you can write patience at the top. Patience is kind of a hard word, but if you look at the top of the screen, the words are there. So I'm writing patience. And what are some ways that you can practice patience with others? So we can write on there, we could say forgiveness. You can write that down. I'm going to write that one down on mine. Or what are some ways you can brainstorm if we need that long suffering with relationships? We could, if people tell you to wait, you could go play a game while you're waiting to maybe help not think about it so much. So I'm going to write play a game. You could sing a song to help take the time away. You could play with your toys. Wow, we have a really good list. So you can use this list when you are having to wait for a long time for something and you don't want to make sure that relationship is strained, or you don't want to get frustrated with your parents or family, or because they're not going when you want right now. You could go play a game, you could sing a song, or you could play with your toys. That's a great list we have. And then it's also to remember, like we said, to forgive. When maybe someday when you grow up and you're babysitting, or you have a team of people you're leading and they're not moving quite as fast as you would like, you can forgive them because they're learning. And God is very patient with us. So take some tape and we can put it on our Fruit of the Spirit wall. I love how our wall is coming. It is wonderful. There we go. Patience. Okay, so for our next activity, you might be wondering, why is there a pineapple there? Well, I thought that would be a fun way to practice having patience. I'm not going to cut it up for you, but if you have some fruit at home that takes a while to cut up, or vegetables, or anything else, a pineapple is a good example because you have to cut off the top and then you have to cut it into however you cut it. Maybe you have to cut the sides off and then split it down the middle and then chop it up. That can take a while. So that's a way you can practice patience. A watermelon is another good example. That does take a while as well. So I thought I would bring this here. You can say, hey, Mom and Dad, next time you go to the store, can you pick up a pineapple? Because I would really like to practice patience. Another thing you could do is you can make your own puzzle. Have you ever done that before? Puzzles are a good way to practice being patient because, as we know, you have to look for the pieces that go together, so you have to sort them out, and it's a good one to do with someone else. You can talk about things. You also have to practice being patient with each other, as maybe you know where a piece is, but they wanted to find it, and it just takes patience. So to make your own puzzle, you can use whatever you would like. You could use some cardboard. That would be a little more sturdier. You could use piece of paper. You could use some cardstock, which is kind of in between this one. Ooh, look at my plant there. If anyone's watched, my plant has been growing over the past few weeks. It's pretty big, which is pretty cool. I'm hoping some flowers will pop up soon. But so for your puzzle, you take a piece of paper, cardboard, whatever you would like, and then you draw some lines. So there's some there. You can make little indents like puzzle pieces, and then kind of like this. See and I'm going to cut them out. So you could use a picture. Maybe you color a picture. I could put some coloring stuff in here too. Oh, you know what? I need to make some lines this way. So then you cut them out. And then you have made your own puzzle. How cool is that? So cut them out, cut out the pieces. So you draw lines. There we go. Oh, clearly I need to cut this side. So we are going to do this. Yep, and that goes right in there. Oh, so perfect. Like that. So, to continue doing the puzzle, you make your lines and then you cut it out and you have a fun puzzle to do as a family. Okay, kids, how did we do today? How do we do with our tree in front of us? Was it a long suffering? Did you have to wait? Are you ready to eat your Skittles? We're so close, we're almost there. Or your treat or whatever you have. So today we talked about the word patience and how usually it means in the Bible this long suffering. And it's so hard sometimes to wait. I understand. Sometimes it's just waiting for dinner or a meal. And other times, like our story with Abraham and Sarah, it's this waiting of wanting, this longing of something like a baby. And you know what? God is with us through it all. And he asks us to be patient, and he also asks of us to be patient with other people and forgive them maybe when they are not going as fast as we would like or not doing it the way that we would like. And that's a good lesson to learn, because in life we are going to be in relationships with so many people. So I'm going to pray for us, and then we can enjoy our treat together. Dear God, I thank you for this day, and I thank you that you are with us through everything. I thank you that you give us patience. I thank you that you are patient with us and that you care for us and that you know what is best. We thank you for examples in the Bible like Abraham and Sarah, that they had to wait patiently and that you fulfill the promise many, many, many years later with Jesus. Lord, I pray for these kids. I pray that they have a great day, and I pray that they learn about patience. We know that this is something that we all need to work on. So we thank you for always being with us. In your name I pray. Amen. Kids, I had a wonderful time with you today. And guess what? We can have our treats. Delicious. I love Skittles. I hope you have a great day. And I look forward to seeing you again as we continue talking about the fruit of the Spirit. Thank you for joining us.